Hey, historians. As promised, but a day late, I wanted to give you a little bit more in depth information on how to complete the homework from this week, the National Geographic or NG chapter viewing gallery. So, I'm just going to walk you through the process of how to access the viewing gallery, which is in your online textbook, and what the expectations are for the paper that I sent you home with. Some of you already completed it and turned it in, which is awesome. I've looked over your work and it looks great. And for those of you who haven't, because there was some confusion about what to do, I wanted to give a little bit more information so that you have a chance to do it. So we are going to start off in Google Classroom. This is our Google Classroom. And from here, we're going to go to classwork and scroll all the way down. In the reference section, this is where we have the National Geographic online textbook at the bottom here. So when you click on it and you open up your student edition, this is what it should look like. And we're going to go to the English e-edition, that's at the top here. And then we're going to go to Unit 1, the Roman, Byzantine, and Islamic civilizations. And from there, we're going to go down to Chapter 3, the Islamic world, because that's the chapter we're working on. And at the bottom here, you're going to see Chapter 3 Gallery. That's the link that I want you to click on. So when you open up the chapter gallery, it's going to look a little bit like this. And it's going to give you some options of what to see. We've got a tapestry here. We have the Quran. We have another painting. And underneath each of these is a definition of what it is. And it shows a little bit of details about what you're looking at. If it helps you to hear it, you can click the speaker icon and it'll read it for you, just like the other chapters in the textbook. But what I want you to do is click through each of these and see if there's anything that catches your eye, anything that looks particularly interesting to you. This one is Muslim astronomers, so these are some of the scholars that are working. Here's a Dome of the Rock, a picture of the Dome of the Rock. And here's a page from the Herbal Encyclopedia. Anyway, so when you choose one, for instance, I'm going to choose the Dome of the Rock, and that's the one that I would write about if I had the choice. I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to read this paragraph about the Dome of the Rock. That it was built in the late 600s in Jerusalem over a rock that is sacred to both Muslims and Jews. Muslims believe that Islam's prophet Muhammad ascended to heaven from the rock. The dome sits over the rock, so this dome sits over the rock, but a portion of it is uncovered, allowing visitors to see it. The structure that we see is a shrine, not a mosque, and is the oldest surviving Islamic monument. So from that information, you might be able to answer a few of the questions that you have on the Critical Viewing NG chapter gallery. You might be able to answer, what is this? You'd be able to say it's the Dome of the Rock, or whatever image that you chose. Where and when was this created? We can go back to that paragraph that we just read, that it was in the 600s. By whom? We know it was by the Muslims. Why was it created? They created a shrine over the Dome of the Rock. What is it made of? You can talk about how the rock is made of stone and what is on the outside. If you happen to have chosen a different image from the chapter gallery, for instance, one of these really cool paintings here. This is an illustration from a manuscript. The painting shows Arab shoulders, so you'll be able to say this is a painting, it's made with paint and canvas. Or if you chose the Herbal Encyclopedia, you can say this is made with watercolor and paper. And when it asks you the next question, why does it belong in this chapter? That's where I want you to think a little deeper and think about how that particular image that you chose is an important part of the roots and expansion of Islam in the world of Islam. And the last question, what else would you like to know about it? There really is no wrong answer here, but something that might pique your curiosity. So if I were writing about the Dome of the Rock, for instance, I might wonder if it's ever been damaged or refurbished. I might wonder if there have been any conflicts over the fact that Jews and Muslims both see it as a really holy place, because we know that When different religions exist and overlap with each other in the same space, sometimes there's conflict. So I might wonder if there's been some conflict over the Dome of the Rock. So that's something that whatever image you chose, I want to see you extend your thinking and maybe think about what else you might want to know about it. You don't have to answer that on your own, but it's just good to wonder. And in the last part, this section here, I want you to draw a sketch of the image that you chose. It doesn't have to be beautiful. You don't have to be a perfect artist to do this. I just want it to be detailed enough so that A, I can tell what image it is. If I were to look at your sketch and then look at the chapter gallery, it should be clear which image you chose. It shows your effort and your learning. So if I see stick figures or if I see something that's just been kind of haphazardly put together, you might lose a few points on that. In order to get full points, it needs to show your effort and your learning. And then the last thing that's really important is that I want it to be respectful of its cultural importance. What we're looking at in this chapter gallery are images of advancements and things that are important to a group of people who belong to quite a large religion. A lot of you let me know from our notes that 1.5 billion people in the world today identify as Muslim. So if we're drawing something or if we're representing something from that religion, it's important. And so I want your drawings to be detailed enough that I can see them, to show your effort in learning, and to be respectful to its cultural importance. So that is what's going to make up your critical viewing NG chapter gallery. You're going to answer what it is, where and when it was created, by whom and why, and what it's made of. If the section in the NG chapter gallery doesn't give you enough information to answer these questions, one thing I'd like to recommend, if for instance you're looking at this herbal encyclopedia, what you can do is highlight the herbal encyclopedia and then Control C or right click and copy, and then paste it into a Google search bar, or you can just type in what you're searching for. So Dome of the Rock. And we have a web page from Britannica, we have Wikipedia. What I like about Wikipedia is that while it's not an acceptable source for citations if you're writing an essay, it's a really great starting point for a lot of information. You can see that Wikipedia tells us a lot here. So you'll be able to pull out information that you need to answer those questions on your sheet if you need a little bit more information. So try doing a Google search for the item that you were talking about, and then find some of those answers or whatever you're missing. So hopefully that answers whatever questions you have about the critical viewing NG chapter gallery, which is going to be due after the extension I gave over the weekend. It's going to be due on Tuesday. So have a good night, historians. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.